So I'm going to walk through how to check your file dimensions for the second part of assignment 5B. So I'm going to go here into my Lightroom catalog, and I have two sample files that I'm going to use to demo this process. First thing we want to do is export them to fit on that 24-inch wide roll with whatever margin we want, right? So the width of the roll is 24 inches. So we can't be 24 inches because that would be exactly the same size as our paper, which we can't do. We can't be more than 24 inches, perhaps obviously, because that would be bigger than our paper is. So we want the long dimension, right, with a portrait orientation, that's the vertical dimension, with a landscape orientation, that's the horizontal dimension. We want the long dimension to be 24 inches minus whatever our margins are. So I'd like to have a 1-inch margin on this print. So I'm going to go ahead and export these to be 24 inches minus 1 inch on the top, or 1 inch on one side, 1 inch on the other side, right? So that's 24 minus 2 inches, that's 22 inches. So I've got both of these selected. The eagle-eyed among you will notice that they're JPEGs. You will obviously be working from your RAW files. Hit export on here. Right now, we're going to put them in a particular folder. You'll probably, if you're a good student, be putting them in your export folder. I'm just going to throw mine on the desktop here so that I make sure to throw them out after we are done. And I'm going to put them in a folder called Assignment 5 Sizing Demo. Okay, so that's great. You'll rename them whatever you need to do. You'll put them wherever you need to put them. And the way that you'll figure out what some of these things are, remember that we do have right there a lovely assignment description. So I'm going to take a look at this so that I don't screw anything up. Okay, TIFF, Adobe RGB 1998, 300 pixels per inch. Fit the larger dimension on 24-inch wide roll paper. Okay, so TIFF, Adobe RGB 1998, 300 pixels per inch. Great. Come back here. All right, file settings. I'm going to go here to TIFF. I'm going to go here to Adobe RGB 1998. 8 bits, that's fine. Image sizing down here, resize to fit. Now, I don't know what the second dimension is. I know that one dimension will be 22 inches. The longer dimension will be 22 inches. The other dimension will depend on what the proportion of my image is, right? So if I have a square image, then one side is 22 and the other side is also 22. If I have a very long rectangular image, one side is 22 and the other side is, I don't know, 10. So I don't know what it is. That's why I'm going through this process. So I will just say long edge, right? So the longer dimension, I will make it 22. I will double check to make sure that this says inches. And resolution 300 pixels per inch. Okay, all of that looks good. Output sharpening, yeah, you can do that if you want. If you're printing on luster or glossy, it's for glossy. If you're printing on matte, it's matte. Both luster and glossy fall into the same category for output sharpening. All metadata, yes please. And I think that is good. I'm going to go ahead and hit export. So now both of those files are going to be resized to fit that dimension. They're going to be saved to my desktop. And then once that process finishes, I'm going to open them both up in Photoshop, not to edit them, but just so that I can see what the other dimension ended up being. So Lightroom's chugging along. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while it does that, and then we will dive right back in. All right, and they have exported, so here they are. Obviously, you only need to export one. I've exported two, so that I can take a look at one thing that is horizontal, one thing that is vertical. So I'm going to go ahead and just open both of these guys in Photoshop. I can do that by dragging them down in Finder to the Photoshop icon. I can also control click or right click on them and say open with and select Photoshop. All right, so here are my two images. Very exciting. And the only thing I'm going to do with them in Photoshop, not going to edit them, not going to change anything at all. All I'm going to do is see what the dimensions are, right? So just confirming that. So for me, the easiest way to do that is go to image, and you can go to either image size or canvas size. I'm going to go to image size and check right here. There we go. So my width is 22 inches and my height, right? This is the thing that I need to note for my order form, 17.87. So that is 18 inches, 300 pixels per inch, right? I'm not changing this. That's important, right? I'm not editing that information. I'm just noting what it is. If you want to put 17.87 on your form, that's fine. I'm going to round it up to 18 because, I don't know, they're going to charge me for 18 anyway. But again, not changing the height there. Okay, so I know that one is 18 inches on the short dimension, and I suspect if I go to the other one and do the same thing, right, those were two images that had the same proportion, so they're not exactly the same size, but they're pretty close. Yours will be something different, right? So it'll probably be 22 inches by something, but it might be 22 by 16, might be 22 by 17. All depends on the proportion of your image. So again, both of mine are 22 by 18. Resolution is 300 on both of them. That's great. Not going to edit anything. Just going to close those guys both out. And then I can go to my Printsize order form. Remember, we can get to that from the main class webpage under week 10. It's the same order form you use, not for your initial like sheets, 13 by 19. It's the same order form you used for that test thing of 3 images ganged together. So right down there, if I jump to it, right, enter my file name there, right, you're going to do 2, I'm not going to do 2, excuse me, I have 2, you're not going to do 2. Page range, right, I mean, I don't know, I never really understood what that is supposed to mean. 1 copy, yes. Do not resize to fit. Do not add trim marks. Yes, we are on a 24-inch wide roll. Our width in both cases is going to be 22 because that's the width of the file, of the paper, and number of linear inches that we have is 18. So there you go. Just choose now. Sorry, my computer is spinning its wheels under the strain. Go ahead and hit that guy. So enter both of those, choose which paper type, right? This should be the same paper type that you had for your test unless you have a radical dislike of what you got in the test. And there you go. Fill all the rest of that stuff out, submit it on time. Make sure that you have enough time between submitting it and class so that you will get it back. And you are good to go. If you have any concerns about the margin, right? So I have a 1-inch margin top and bottom or whatever on that long dimension. If you are concerned that there won't be enough space on the short side, Typically there is. Typically when PrintFX prints it, they're not trimming it exactly to that edge. If you're worried about that, you can go in when you open it up in Photoshop, and instead of going to image size, you can go to canvas size. Canvas size is going to be a place where you can leave the image the same proportion and just increase the amount of white space around it. So if you want to do that, that is an option. They will, however, charge you for that. So if I make it 22 by 20 on here, they're going to charge me for that 20 inches of length, even if not all of those inches are actually filled with picture. So I'm just going to leave it here 22 by 18 and figure either the margin will be good, or if I don't like it, it's not symmetrical, I'll trim down both sides to get it to be more like what I want. So there you go. Enjoy, shout out with any questions or concerns, and I look forward to seeing your prints next week.